Hey everyone, thank you for joining me today. We're going to be doing a technique that I recently saw Jennifer McGuire do. And what she did was she took a flower stamp and she inked it in like a matching color to go with the cardstock she was using. And she then took the gel pens and traced the stamp. So that's what we're going to do today. I have some gray cardstock that I decided to use my Memento London Fog with. I figured it would be a nice gray that would blend in well with the cardstock, and I could, then use my gel pens with. I will suggest one thing to you. You probably don't want to use the small flowers like I'm using right here. I picked them because they had a lot of lines. The lines for the tracing. But in hindsight, I probably should have picked a bigger flower. You know what I mean? You'll see what I mean as I start to lay stuff down. So the first thing I'm doing is I wanted to lay down, make sure my paper was straight, and lay down some of the flowers here. Oh no, this one is thank you. I'm putting thank you down first so that way I could then put the flowers around it. I don't know what's up with my memory sometimes. But on this thank you, I did use my VersaFine black ink. So that way I could emboss it in the clear embossing powder. Sorry about that. You might hear my cat in the back. She's decided to become very vocal in her older years. I'm just heating it up and, melting the clear embossing powder. And now we're going to take the flower stamps and ink them up and create basically a pattern around the thank you. And I'm just going to do 2 to 3 of each of the stamps. And all I did was flip it over to stamp the second flower, because I had one on each side of the stamp block. And then I'm stamping this one. So as you can imagine, because they're smaller stamps, it takes more of them to fill up the area. That's why it takes so long to color them in. And what I found was, as I got to the end, a lot of my flowers, like the definition and stuff, the ink had dried and it really blended really well with this paper or the cardstock to the point where it almost like it went away. And so I would say in that instance, if your color is really close to the cardstock that you're using, either do a larger stamp so that way you can stamp it and then start coloring right away and be done, or color as you go. So like as I stamped, let's say 3 of them on the bottom, I should have colored those 3 and then stamp some more and then color those, and then built up on it like that, because by the time I get done with everything, like I said, it was a little bit of a challenge because it was starting to fade. So then I decided there was these little kind of like starburst, or they like a little, either like little stars, or sometimes the stamps come with. Well, I decided to take that and stamp those around the page, and I just dropped the block there. Every so often that happens, and thankfully it didn't fall or hit anything weird, because I've had that happen before. But I'm just inking up this particular stamp and stamping in the areas in between the flowers. And I did put some leaves down as well, so that way we would have some contrast of color. And the idea with the small stamp that I'm doing, you wouldn't actually color this one. We would leave that one to kind of fade into the background, but to give it just a little bit of level and depth. Okay, so now that we're done inking, we're just going to grab our gel pens. And I'm using the same exact set that she had by Kaiser Craft. One side is a glitter pen, and one side is your regular gel pen. And so for the leaves, I'm going to try and zoom in here. I decided to use the green glitter gel pen. And you're not coloring it in. All you're doing is tracing the gray, stamped image. And all the ones that you're going to do in that color, you just go around and you trace all your lines. So it makes it really fun, because like sometimes you don't have a whole lot of stuff in your stash. You might be starting out as a new crafter. If you I didn't come into gel pens or really saw the ooh ah about gel pens until later in my crafting exploration. And I would say, some people, they like the gel pens. That's what they were drawn to when they got started. So you may have tons of these gel pens, the different colors. You can get the huge sets at the different box stores. Get them. Try this technique. You will love it. It makes it so much easier. It's like you almost create your own coloring book, but you're doing it on the front of a card, which makes it very unique and fun and easy to do. And it would be something fun that you can do with your kids. You can stamp up a bunch of cards, sit down at the table with them with the gel pens, and have them help you trace out the stamps. I think that's a great idea. So I'm just going to go ahead and let the music play for a little bit and let the filling in or tracing of the lines continue, and I'll pop back in if there's anything that I want to share. Okay, I know that wasn't too long, but on this particular pink one, I did find that with my gel pens, it seemed like certain ones that I had used before, I had to work to get the gel moving again. I just kept trying to, I used scratch paper on the side and tried to get it to move. You can see I brought one over. And I think part of the reason I was having issues is because of how the gel pen was just reacting to being colored on top of the ink. But I just kept going because I knew in the end it was gonna still do its job. It would still stand out and it would still be pretty, but it was just giving me a little bit of a headache, and that's when I realized I was not going to stay on camera and fill in all that. So thank you guys for joining me. Here are some close-ups of the finished product. At the end, I did add some stamps up into the upper right corner, so the entire front of the card was filled. And then the very last thing I did, I took my white gel pen and just did highlights in certain sections on the flowers. Alright you guys, thank you so much, and I look forward to seeing you with our next video.